The Chicago Bears may be getting Khalil Herbert back for the game against the Detroit Lions. We're going to talk about how that could impact the game positively for the Chicago Bears. And we're also going to talk about some matchups that the Chicago Bears need to look to take advantage of and where they're going to be tested at against the Detroit Lions. We're going to get to all that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. So it looks like Khalil Herbert, who was listed on the injury report with a shin splint, it may be 100% healthy. And so what that means is that we already bringing Nate Davis back. We're bringing back Justin Fields. We get another weapon for us in Khalil Herbert, and his average of, over 5 yards per carry is what he was averaging before he went down with injury. And that's going to all shape up to help, boast the Chicago Bears' chances against a Detroit Lions team that isn't shabby, right? Leading the division right now. And so the Chicago Bears coming into this game, playing effectively, playing well, executing well, having every weapon at their disposal is going to be important. And when you look at adding Khalil Herbert's 5.5 yards per carry to the 4.4 Deontay Foreman's averaging, to the over 4 that also Roschon Johnson's averaging with the other parts of our game, this could be a really, important game for the Chicago Bears to maybe make a move in the division. So, we'll see what happens with that. But I really like the fact of, getting everybody back fully healthy. We've been really renewed in that run game as well. And Khalil Herbert can be a big part of that. So bringing in Nate Davis back, bringing Khalil Herbert back, and now also adding that to Justin Fields, who's also returning, could be a night of returns and maybe a night of wins for the Chicago Bears against the Detroit Lions. Let's hope that that's the case at least, right? But with that said, there are some matchups specifically that I want to kind of look at here for the Chicago Bears against the Detroit Lions. And one of those ones is, of course, going to be Darnell Wright. Yet again, Darnell Wright has played up against some of the better defensive linemen in the game of football. When you look at the fact of Rashawn Gray, Chris Jones, Shaq Barrett, Montez Sweat before he became a member of the Bears, Danielle Hunter, Max Crosby, Cameron Jordan, and Joey Bosa. Darnell Wright has went through the trials and tribulations of a rookie at the NFL level, and he has another one coming up with Aiden Hutchinson as well in this upcoming matchup. And so, listen, Hutchinson likes to match up against tackles. That's the thing that he does as well. He's had 52 pressures so far in the season. So listen, it's definitely going to be a test for Darnell Wright, and it's going to be a key matchup for him and the Chicago Bears to win if they can, or at least Darnell Wright to really step up. Can he win it? As a rookie, not necessarily looking for that, but to really play a big role and play solidly against that defensive line is Darnell Wright, and I think it's going to be important for him as well. And then you got to look at the linebacking core, Jack Sanborn, right, and how the Bears shape up against that run game. Montez Sweat plays a part in that as well. Also throw in Kyler Gordon there. They've really used Kyler Gordon really well in run defense as well, even though he's playing from that nickel. So I think that's going to be an important part from the Chicago Bears team as well. But how how the Bears scheme and try to work around that run game to keep David Montgomery from really abusing the Chicago Bears is going to be a big thing. We've gotten slowly better over the course of the run, so that's going to be an important thing as well coming into this game. But like I said, Montez Sweat and that pressure from the front four overall is going to be important. But then you also got to pair in, the other aspects of that as well. Like I said, Jack Sanborn, the linebacking core, TJ Edwards is going to be an important part of it, even though I think TJ Edwards is going to be really kind of more important in coverage, which we'll talk about here in a second. But I do think that is important. And don't be surprised if you see Kyler Gordon come in there and is used in both in the run game to stop the run and is used to blitz the quarterback some. You may even see some times where Jalen Johnson is moved over to the slot in obvious pass downs and situations, which kind of frees up Kyler Gordon to do some other things. But best believe Kyler Gordon is he's gonna be important in that. And I think Kyler Gordon, especially when you look at St. Brown as well, like that's another aspect of this. It's going to be really important for that secondary to be locked in. And to say with that, talking about the coverage aspect of it, Jaquan Brisker, Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, they got to be ready to go. They have to be ready to go in this one and ready to perform at a level that we really need them to. You cannot come into this game against the Detroit Lions and think that it's just going to be sweet, because it's not. And so, really looking at those aspects on the defensive side of the ball, how they can prepare for the Detroit Lions offense, I think is going to be important. I know we talked a little bit about our offense with Darnell Wright, but everything other than that has just been focused on the defense. The defense has to be locked in and try to get the opposing offense off the field as much as possible, especially if you can get them in third down situations. And that's going to be important for the Bears to try to have some success in it as well. And to flip that on the other side, right? You got to look at DJ Moore and Justin Fields, and whatever happens in the pass game, we have to try to find success against the Detroit Lions secondary. We have to. If we can't, it's going to be a long, grueling night. But when you look at some of the recent performances against the Detroit Lions secondary, you got Keenan Allen, who had 11 catches for 175 yards against them. You then have Zay Flowers, who had 4 catches and 75 yards against them as well. Chris Gordon, who had 6 for 77, and then Thielen, who had 11 catches for 107 yards against them. So with that said, there's been some success in the pass game against this Detroit Lions secondary. DJ Moore, Khalil Herbert are going to be hugely important for that. And if we can get Darnell Mooney to kind of trend back to what he did, build off the chemistry that he has with Fields, hopefully we can get that back going sooner rather than later in this type of matchup. But DJ Moore is going to be hugely important for how we attack that Detroit Lions defense and secondary. And if we can find success in that, it could be a fair night for the Chicago Bears. I'm not sitting here predicting that we're going to completely blow them up or eat them alive in the pass game, but we have to be locked in to be able to perform with that team. And if we're not, it's going to be a long, grueling, and difficult night. So let's see what we can do in there. The run game, we've already talked a little bit about that. That's going to be important as well. Having Khalil Herbert back, potentially healthy. Deontay Foreman's just been on a go and a tear to keep taking advantage of those things. That's what we want to see from this team. And, we have to find success on the ground, but we're going to have to find a way to mix it up. The offensive line is going to be important in that. Bringing Nate Davis is going to be important, but then looking at Tevin Jenkins being there and being fully healthy again, right? Darnell Wright, we talked about already. Nate Davis coming back. Braxton Jones, hopefully building upon one of his best games on the season so far that he had against the Carolina Panthers. We got to find success running. We got to try to find success going down the field as well. We talked in yesterday's episode about how Justin Field and his ability to go down the field, and hopefully the coordinator Luke Getsy feeling a little bit more comfortable calling plays for down the field because we have Justin in there, and we talked about how he's had success in that. We hopefully those are keys to the Chicago Bears finding some monochrome of success against this Detroit Lions team, because I tell you what, this team ain't coming in to make anything easy for the Chicago Bears. And we look at, Jared Goff. You don't want to allow him to go off on you. Can we get protection on him? Protection. Can we get pressure on him consistently, right? That's going to be a big thing, but expected to come from the secondary as well, right? They're going to get a little creative on that. David Montgomery. We are very familiar with the weapon that David Montgomery can be. And as much as he says that he's just approaching it as another game, very well expect David Montgomery to have this circled on his calendar and to really come in trying to make a statement. He's already over 800 yards this season. He's averaging about 4 yards per carry. So, again, the Chicago Bears defense is going to have to be geared in and ready to go against this Detroit Lions team. And then you look at their tight end, Laporta, as well. One thing, and we've had a caller who always calls in and says how the Bears are always susceptible for things up the middle, right? Those slants up the middle. You cannot allow Laporta to come in and blow you up, right? He has 47 receptions for 474 yards and 4 touchdowns on the season. So, again, you want to look out for that as well. So, this is not going to be an easy matchup at all for the Chicago Bears. We already talked about Aiden Hutchinson and how he's going to try to make the night hell for Darnell Wright. We got to be locked in. Got to be locked in as well. Are we going to attack Sutton? Are we going to try to throw away from Cameron Sutton as well? Their cornerback. That's another matchup that, it's another player that could really give the Bears fits on a night like that. So you really got to look at it. We really got to look to improve and to see what we can give and to really come in with a game plan. And hopefully this coaching staff has this team ready to go, because I tell you what, if the Bears can get a win, if the Bears can find a way to get a win against a divisional opponent who's also leading the division and come in and do that type of work, it can definitely go a long way in hoping that the Bears are going to be a lot more of a formidable team down the stretch of this. Are we expecting them to clear the table, anything like that? No, but there is reasons to believe that, that we can start building upon things and be a better team on the last 7 games of the season. Now, keep in mind, did come out as well that while Justin Fields has been cleared and he is starting, that thumb is still not 100%. So do not be surprised if maybe some things look a little off in Justin Fields, but we know he's a warrior. He's going to want to be out there. He's going to try to compete. I don't really expect him to come in there and play timid, but that thumb may be a nagging thing to start looking out for in this game to see if it starts bothering him as the game goes on, especially if he ends up getting that hand slapped or anything like that. So be on the lookout for that. But Bears need to take care of the football, execute as well as they can on defense, try to get the Detroit Lions off the field as much, and we have to convert ourselves, find success in that run game, use it to set up the pass game, and then eventually go down the field, utilize our weapons extremely well, and hope that Justin Fields, upon his return, kind of sets the tone for the rest of the last few games for the Chicago Bears this season. Let me know what you guys think on all that down below. Make sure you're following the show at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.